So the birth of the twins. I don't know if I didn't actually mention that my daughter Ida was born on my mom's birthday, November 3rd, and my sister's birthday is December 16th. And I remember the babies were due on my birthday, which is in January 7th. And I remember my mom making a comment, "Oh, they're going to be born on your sister's birthday," and I was like, "That's ridiculous. That's so early. Like they're not going to be born that early. That would just be horrible." And then the night of the 15th, I went to sleep and I felt this warm liquid all over me. And I was like, oh my God, is my water breaking? So I turn the lights on and it's pure blood. Blood is just like gushing out of me. And I was freaking out because it's all over the bed and it just kept coming out and coming out and coming out. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I don't know what to do. Like I'm not in pain. Is something coming out? Like I just didn't know what was happening. And I called to my husband and I was like, oh, well, and he's like, what? And I said, I'm just bleeding. I said, I don't know what's happening. And so he's freaking out. The kids are still asleep and everything. And because they slept in the lounge and everything. And so he didn't know what to do. So he's like he's calling the ambulance, and then the ambulance is like, oh, we'll come down and get her. I was like, no, I'll come up and everything. So I ended up putting pants on and everything, going up to the ambulance because we have a bit of a walk to the driveway. And then they take me and I'm just bleeding, bleeding, bleeding. And we get there and it's stupid COVID shit all over again. So um, they were asking me all these COVID questions as I'm like actively bleeding. And then they were trying to see like, okay, what's going on? Like, is it actually waters or is it just blood? Like, and they were telling me initially that the babies were in a good enough position that I could have tried to birth them naturally, which, yeah, always hopeful, right? But as soon as I started getting contractions, they said, it's probably better that we give you a C-section, emergency C-section, because we don't exactly know where the blood's coming from. So we ended up rushing into theater, and they said, "Oh, you're going to meet your babies tonight." And so lo and behold, December 16th, my sister's birthday, and go in. They do the C-section, and the funny thing is, the midwife we had for that was a hospital midwife was the midwife I had for my first one, but this time she was amazing. So it was nice roundabout thing. Like she didn't remember me at all, and or anything, but she was really great this time. So it was good. So emergency C-section, and then they came out and then they pretty much like Edith wasn't breathing, my girl twin, and so we were a bit worried about that, and she had oxygen and then she eventually started breathing. But since I had gotten an infection from my first one from the hospital, nobody had rechecked me, and so they still kind of had to isolate me, and so they took me away from the babies and they wouldn't let me see the babies, and I didn't see them for over like 6 hours, and my husband got to see them first. But they ended up just coming in and just like milking my colostrum and just getting all that stuff. And it's so traumatic. It's like all of a sudden you're in this emergency C-section and then you don't get to see your babies and you're so tired and everything and in so much pain. And so they put me in this room, they isolate me, then eventually they let me see the babies. And it's just like so overwhelming, the fact that you just have these absolutely like premature dependent things on you. And um, I was not doing okay. Like I couldn't sit up, and anytime I stood up, they said, "Oh, you have to stand up and walk around after a C-section." But I was just bleeding and bleeding and bleeding, and it turned out that I hemorrhaged, and there was a chance that I might need an iron or a blood infusion, and they were going to wait a couple days to see how that went. But I ended up having to stay in the maternity ward for about 5 days before they moved me over to Skaboo with the twins to stay there. And I wanted, yeah, it's just a long journey. I'm just giving you about the birth and everything. And so what was really, that was another thing that was very hard and very traumatic. And all of a sudden, it's just that it happened over Christmas, the time. And so everyone forgot about me. Like nobody came to check up on my C-section scars. Nobody came to check up on me about breastfeeding, nothing. I was just ignored and forgotten about. And it even got to a point where it was like 2 weeks that, or like a week after I'd given birth, and somebody said to me in Skaboo, like, hasn't your midwife come to talk to you? I said, no, I don't have a midwife. Like, I just had the hospital people and nobody's come. And they actually admitted to me, oh, sorry, you fell through the cracks. Like, we just forgot about you. And the whole Skaboo stay was absolutely horrible. Like, just everything was horrible. And it was just not an easy time. It wasn't a beautiful thing. And even thinking about it now, I still kind of get emotional about the fact that I kind of feel like I know that I'm very lucky that I didn't die, But at the same time, it's just very hard when you can't enjoy something like that and you have to go through something traumatic. And I know I keep saying the word traumatic, the only thing I can think of. Um, yeah, there's Sadie. But yeah, so everything from the absolute start with the twins has been hard, and I'm still at this point where it's like it's very hard with them, and it's nothing. I haven't reached a point where I enjoy them. I'm gonna have to go soon because Sadie. Um, but yeah, so a lot of things happen. I can explain with things after the twins were born, what the situation with them was. Like I can do more posts on just twins itself and share my experiences, and not sure if anybody else can resonate or understand. But I do have to say, even though it was very, very hard and tough with the twins, I was still had this idea or feeling that, hang on, come over, Sadie, give me a baby. I still had this feeling or idea that another one was coming. And so when Sadie came, I was very lucky because everything about her was just amazing. The pregnancy, the the labor, like everything was just amazing. So I can go into her birth in a different one. But yeah, so that's just my experience for the twins with an emergency C-section, which it turned out the reason I was bleeding is because a placental abruption with Edith. So yeah, it was good that we had the C-section or she would have died. So yeah, this is my baby. This is my baby happy girl. Okay, all right, thank you. Talk soon.